All right, I've decided to switch from Lightroom to ON1. And thankfully, the people at ON1 realized in order to get people to buy their product, they need to make it easy to switch over because as you can see here, I've got a lot of collections. I've got a lot of connected catalogs and folders. No problem. They have a migration assistant. So before you use this, you need to make sure that you've got ON1 installed on your machine because that actually installs the plugin into Lightroom. So what I've done prior to this is I installed ON1, and I closed and relaunched Lightroom. Once you do that, you will have this option here. You go to File, Plugin Extras, and now I've got this Migrate catalog to ON1. So before I do that, one thing you need to do is make sure all your external drives are attached, because in this case, my studio drive is actually on a different drive than all of my pictures, as well as, of course, what's on the computer. So make sure everything's connected in order to migrate everything. You can also go up to your folders and see what drives that you have. So let's say I want to make sure this one's ready to sync. And now I can take this folder, right click on it, and you've got a synchronized folder option. So this will pop up and make sure everything within that folder is synchronized and up to date. Now, in my case, this can take a while because, of course, I've got a lot of pictures, as you can see on the screen here. So make sure you do all of this for everything that you want to have synced. Once you have everything synced, go up to that file, plugin extras, migrate. Notice now that I've synced everything, I've got all of these other options because now it's capturing any effects and other settings that I've applied. Okay, I'm going to jump over to the settings tab, and I want to make sure in my case, I'm migrating my collections. That's important to me because I've got everything put into collections, and I want to make sure to migrate all of my adjustments that I've applied. Those are also key. You can create copies of photos with Lightroom's adjustments. This is kind of a backup, essentially. If you, maybe you won't have access to Lightroom ever again, or you're just a bit paranoid, you can create copies. I'm not going to because I can always jump back into Lightroom if I need to, at least for a little while until I completely cancel my subscription. But for now, I'm going to go with Migrate and develop. So before you hit this, know it's going to take a long time, especially if you like me and you've got thousands and thousands of pictures on your hard drives. So consider doing this overnight if you plan to use Lightroom or ON1 within a certain amount of time. If you're okay with that, well, hit Migrate. And now it's going to start preparing your catalog to migrate and work its magic. So let's pause this and come back once it's done. All right, a day has gone past, and now I've relaunched ON1, and you'll see I've got a bunch of pictures in it. So if I go to my cataloged folders, that's going to be all of the folders on my hard drives. Let's close that. More importantly to me is the albums. So I made a mistake, and you might notice it right away, but all of my albums match my catalogs in Lightroom. And that's basically the process. So the mistake I made that you might have noticed is I've got a folder and then another one with an _1 after it. Basically what I did here is I thought it had processed, and when I came in here, I saw my cataloged folders, and I'm like, oh, it's all done. So then I canceled out of the transfer process in Lightroom, and then I come in here and I'm like, well, wait a minute, none of my albums are showing. I must not have. So then I went back to Lightroom and started it again. Basically what happened is it was still processing. So the albums hadn't updated yet in ON1. And so when I ran it again, it of course creates duplicates. So learn from my mistake there, people. Be patient with it. It will take a while, especially if you have a lot of albums, and a lot of pictures.